Everybody's talking about digital transformation these days. And my team and I started doing this 10 years ago, before digital transformation was even part of the conversation. And we talked to more than 100 senior executives in the first year to understand what was happening. And now we've worked with thousands of companies over the last 10 years through multiple waves of research in digital transformation. There are so much you can do in digital transformation, but I want to really emphasize two pieces. One is the digital and one is the leadership. Too many times we find people focusing on just the digital part of digital transformation. And so they focus on the artificial intelligence or the mobile technology or the new ways of running factories or these kinds of things. And that's a good start. But technology only gives you value when you actually use it to change your company. And it's not as easy as just buying the technology. So when we think about digital transformation, actually the most important part is transformation. This is something that needs to be led very strongly from the top of the company, because the only way it's going to work is if you change the way you do business. If you change the way you work with your customers, if you change the way you work with that your employees work, if you change your operations, if you change your business models, that's the only way this will provide value. So it's not really a technology story at all. It's a leadership story. And what our research can show is how do you envision the changes you go through and what kinds of steps you can take to make that happen over and over again in your company. I think people are aware of the importance of digital transformation. I think they're not quite sure that they can do it. And we found, we certainly did our research with large companies, but we found digital transformation from, the corner bodega all the way up to the biggest companies in the world when you see how things are working, right? So anybody can do it. The really important part is to start thinking about how. What can we change now? How can we start to make some kind of change happen with the technological element and then go on from there? So, when I think now, when I go get my coffee in the morning, I get loyalty points for getting that coffee. That's going to make me come back to that store more than that other would be. That's just a local coffee shop, right? And then we go on up to the biggest companies. You see what Starbucks does in a national chain for their coffee. But you can start wherever you are. Take off a small thing, do an experiment, and then do more. So COVID has been a perfect example of the need to transform quickly and what to do about it. And so when I think about small businesses in the neighborhood, things like restaurants, local service providers, they immediately made a shift to work with some of these online firms to deliver their products instead of having me come pick up those products. And they were able to at least cover some of their revenue by doing that. And now they are banding together, different companies in our area. And instead of paying the margins that those digital firms ask, they're just developing their own driver services. So whether you need to get a food from this restaurant or food from that service, or you need to get your cleaning from this company, or you need to get a small delivery from the appliance store down the street, all those can be one. They're working together to make that happen, and digital makes that work. So you can start with whatever pain point you have or whatever pain point your customers have. Find an interesting way to do something about that and then test it. And if it works, do more. And if it doesn't work, try something else. And that's how you build these things up. The world is moving quickly. Your company needs to move quickly. In smaller companies, sometimes it feels like you have a little bit more time because you know your customers so well and you know the neighborhood you're in so well. But on the other hand, there are many, many examples of the movie theaters going out of business when the chains came in, or the big bookstores taking people out of business, or retail, this kind of thing happening all over the place. So you may not have the time that you think you do. And customers especially are starting to get much more impatient. They expect to have things available when they want it and how they want it, and on their phone many times. So, you got to get started. And so what I would say the number one thing you got to do is focus on doing something. But don't do the kind of thing where you're going to risk your entire company on it. Do a small experiment and then move from there. Number two, really focus on speed. Really focus on getting things done quickly, not planning them out too far. And especially in smaller businesses, capital requirements are a little different. The technology talent's a little bit differently. So you might also want to band together with other companies in your area to see whether there's something you can do together that could solve a problem for all of you.